Welcome back to the channel. I hope all of you are well. This video is not going to be an update. When I was online earlier today, I was browsing through some groups that I'm in on Facebook, one group in particular, which I will link in the description of this video. It's called Eclectic Wicca and Witches, and one of the admins there had posted a notification where people could volunteer their services to do tarot readings if they were inclined, and I felt intuitively drawn to offer that, and I put in my response that I was a beginner at reading the cards and working with them, and I received 2 requests to do readings, and so this video is going to be at the very least one of those readings, maybe both of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to separate it or not. I think probably what I'll do is separate it. So yeah, I plan to do those 2, and then after that, since I'm in the stream of doing these videos, I'm going to go ahead and do an update, and I don't know how long of an update that will be. Until today, that was unplanned, so we'll see how that goes. So give me a moment and then we will begin. I'm going to take a moment here to ground myself and try to get my energies in line to do this work. When I was planning this video, I decided that it was going to be a 5-card reading. It is going to be for this month, and the layout that I sort of sketched here on my notes, much of what I decided was inspired by videos that I saw on Crystal's channel, which I will also link in the description of this video, called Seer's Cottage. She does a lot of readings. She does weekly and I believe monthly readings, and at times she does free readings for people. So definitely I would recommend that you check out her channel if you're interested in that. I want to take a moment here to mingle my energies into these cards. I'm just kind of following my intuition here. Alright. Now I'm going to attempt to align further my energies with the cards, and also Carolyn's energy. This first reading will be for Carolyn. Okay, let's see what these reveal. I think what I'm going to do, I'll lay out these cards in a row and I'll reveal them one at a time. I'll do my best to show the cards to the camera. If I'm speaking now to Carolyn, or really to anyone, if you have issues seeing these cards and you want to actually see an image, feel free to leave a comment and I will either find an image online of the card or I will take a picture and post it for you. As I have said in previous videos, I am using the Heart of Fairy Oracle. So let's see what this first card reveals. I will show you the card as it was turned over. First, this card is called the Fixer. Okay. Alright, I did not mention this from my notes, but I will include it here. This first card is what I would consider a status card. It's the beginning of these five. It's where you are. It's what's going on, sort of. Not necessarily the focus, though. It's just, there again, it's a status. It's a point, a reference point to begin with. With this card being turned this way, the impression that I get is sort of the world being turned upside down, or there's some kind of confusion or some kind of really big doubt, or like there's what I keep getting is the world turned upside down. So there's some sort of something going on. A lot of confusion, a lot of doubt, maybe some chaos. Things are topsy-turvy. Okay. This makes sense already. Okay, here is the second card. The second card, what I wrote down here is challenge. It's not necessarily a challenge, but this may be an obstacle or some type of circumstance. Like this is sort of what you're facing, or a potential thing that you could work on to try to move forward toward your goal for this month, whatever that goal is. And it impacts this. Yet again, it was upside down. Move my finger so you can see it properly. This is the crone. There are two faces here. You can see one at the top. When I turned this card over, the initial intuition that I got was was sort of folly. I mean, it's the intuition. What I hear is that there's a focus right now on things that are trivial, or trivial is really a bad word, but possibly a focus on seeking something that isn't going to aid you in your situation. You know, either an attention to a detail that's not really important, or what I get from this intuitively is that, yeah, there's attention being put somewhere and it should be somewhere else. So to me, this card, in my mind, that is the challenge, that's the obstacle for this month. It's possibly altering your awareness, or trying to view things in a different way, or even maybe altering, you know, the decisions or the actions that you've been taking. That's what I gather there. All right. Okay, I'm getting some things about this. I'll go ahead and show it to you, and then I'll look at it and seek some more clarity. This is the Queen of Knight card. Yet again, it's upside down. What I wrote down here for this third card is that this third card is going to be a tool. It's going to be a, I hasten to use the word remedy, but it's a it's a possible approach that you can take to try to remedy, you know, whatever it is that's going on, or try to provide some harmony. While I don't necessarily perceive night or darkness or shadow to be a bad thing, I think there again that darkness and shadow can oftentimes be confusing, disorienting. What I'm getting from this card is that the main tool that you have in your life, and particularly in this month, and this sounds really hokey, but it is the essence, to seek the light. What I'm getting from this is to step away from the worry of this shadow, or particularly the worry of this first card, the Fixer. This is telling me that it's more about spending time outside in the light if you can, but more so it's about giving. It's about creating light for someone else, and in doing so you can benefit yourself. Yet another reverse card. Alright. This card is the Messenger. What I have here for this fourth card is the outcome. And what I wrote beside that is that it possibly represents both success or the outcome of persisting through the challenge that you're going through. So I view this card as potential. In my mind, it could speak to making progress with seeking the light, or continuing to be in this space of trying to be the fixer and figure it out. And in my mind, when I'm looking at this card, this is the outcome that I'm seeing if that path is followed. Which there again is this messenger, and it's reversed, which tells me that that's simply further confusion. You know, that's, I wouldn't necessarily call it chaos, but it's misdirection. It's cross lines, mixed signals. So yeah, and that's what I see from these four thus far. And in drawing this reverse like this, it speaks to me and says there's importance that needs to be paid to this challenge. I think otherwise, in a sense, there's a greater likelihood that this will be the outcome if importance is not faced on this work. Otherwise, this would have been turned this way, as if to say you found clarity, or the likelihood is higher that you will find clarity. So in my mind, this being reversed stresses this card. Now let's see what this fifth card has in store for us. Okay. This fifth card is called Remembrance. Now bear in mind that it was reversed. What I wrote down for this fifth card is that this card in particular, more so than all the rest of these for this month, this card is your card. I'm going to give my interpretation of this card as I did with the rest. But what's important here is that you seek your own intuition for this card, because this card is going to hold the key to the entire month, more so than the rest of the four. This is sort of the key that opens the door. I think that this card not only stands for something that's going on this month, but possibly the next few months or this entire year. Like this is an important card. Seeing that this card is reversed when I flipped it over, what I get from this card is that there's some kind of past thing, possibly a past trauma or a past event, a past decision that you particularly have either forgotten or set to the side, or simply decided that it wasn't worth thought or looking at or dealing with, and here it is. I mean, it's coming back up and it's here, and whatever this thing is, it's tied into the rest of the cards, the wanting to fix it, you know, all the other steps. This is telling me that you need to do some internal intuitive work and try to figure out what this is, what has been forgotten, you know, what has been set aside that may be affecting these questions that you're having, or this indecision or trouble that you're going through, because it's going back to this card. And the impression that I'm getting is that that's the birthplace of this work that I was talking about before, the light, and sort of stepping in that direction of helping someone else. These two are going to be interconnected. I will show you the card again, and there again, if you have trouble seeing it via the cam, and you want me to post a picture of it, I will certainly be glad to do that. That is my impression for this reading. I hope that you find it helpful. Certainly I'm willing to answer further questions if you have them. Feel free to either comment in the group when I post this, or certainly post here on YouTube as a comment. I hope that these words find you well. I hope that this reading aids you, and I will talk with you soon. Welcome back to the channel. This video is being made back to back with another video, as I had mentioned before, in one of the groups that I'm in on Facebook called Eclectic Wicca and Witches. One of the admins had posted that for those of us who were interested in offering readings for people, we could do so there, and so I made a post and I received 2 requests to do a general reading, and so I just completed one, and my energies are still connected to the cards, and so it made sense to me to go ahead and do the second reading. As I had mentioned before, I am using the Heart of Fairy Oracle, and you'll give me a moment here and I will begin this second reading. I'm going to take a moment here to align the energy, my energy and the energy of the cards, with this person that this reading is for. Her name is Janice. All right. As I mentioned before in the last video, this is going to be a 5-card layout. I designed this layout based on readings that I saw on Crystal's channel. which is YouTube username Sears Cottage. I will link both to the Facebook group that I mentioned and to her channel. So definitely I would recommend that you check out her channel if you're interested in cards or reading cards or wanting a reading. She does monthly readings, and she does weekly readings, and at times free readings for people. So I have really enjoyed her channel and her videos, and I would definitely recommend that you go check that out. I'm getting the feeling, the intuition that I need to realign myself for a moment. Okay. Hmm. This is a nice card to begin with. This card is called Pan. The intuition that I get from this card is playfulness. It is comfort. It is the enjoyment of life. You know, it's being well lived. It's summertime. You know, it's fun. Sort of a childhood. I will not say childish, but a childhood enthusiasm. Definitely a good beginning. This first card is what I will call the status card. It's where you are right now. It's sort of the center of what's going on. This 5-card layout is going to be about this month. So here we begin on a really good note with freedom, with youth, with enjoyment. Yeah. Imagination. That's what I'm seeing from this first card. Well. Alright. The second card. The Leaving. This second card I wrote down as a challenge or a possible obstacle, but challenge doesn't necessarily mean something bad. So it doesn't have to be an obstacle, but this is, it represents what could be difficult or challenging. And obviously the leaving here, that's what I get from this card. The figure in the forefront is a small child getting ready to go on this journey of leaving. Everything else in the card is huge and sort of imposing, and that's the impression that I get. Intuitively, I get this feeling that either in this state right now, you either know that there's some change on the horizon, some potential for a big change or a big shift. Either that, where you have this, either that, or this will be something that's sort of blindsiding. This change, this leaving, this transition, whatever it is, it's going to seem very daunting and sort of huge or really big, potentially even risky. But the more I look at this card, this intuitive feeling that I get is that it's not what it seems. Like there's this figure on the top of this boulder and he's smiling, and I get intuitively that you're being watched over. You're going to be guided, you're going to be helped if you open yourself up to that. But this leaving to me represents change. Not necessarily going to a physical place, mind you, but some type of transition that's going to seem really huge. This really fits. That's nice. This next card is the Joy of the Future. And what I get from this card is very straightforward. This third card it basically represents tools, things that you can do or use to overcome the challenge that may exist in this second card. And here, when I'm looking at this card, I see light, I see love, and I see faith. Joy of the future. It's a sort of intuitive knowing that despite the enormity of this change or this transition, this tool, this card is telling you to draw on that intuitive feeling of knowing that it's going to be okay, of trusting this guiding presence that's in this card. This is all about seeing past the darkness, seeing past the doubt, setting fear aside, and being able to be one with those feelings of gratitude, of this goodness, of this joy that is coming to you in the future. I didn't see this coming. I'll go ahead and show you the card, and then I need to take a moment. This is the Paradox. This fourth card is what I deemed the outcome. And in that sense, it could represent sort of a forking, a branching of the paths. So it could represent, not using this tool in the third card and what would come with that. It could also represent using this tool, depending on how this card ties in with the rest. I certainly did not foresee this Paradox card. It is a paradox to me. Okay, I'm not necessarily getting anything bad from this card. Intuitively, what I'm reading there is simply it's a statement that whether you use this tool, the joy of the future, or not, you're still going to have some lingering questions or doubts. There's still going to be some lingering of this big decision even after you move through it, or particularly while you're moving through it. Also, what I get from this card is that this could go, I mean, it could go either way, you know, in the sense that that's the limbo. You're going to feel that way for a period of time. That you're not certain whether or not your faith is justified in being placed in this joy of the future. Quite possibly, too, on the outside of this, you're going to have doubts of saying, you know, should I have placed the joy of the future? Like, should I have followed that, or did that affect this outcome? Now I'm feeling more so that's the heart of it. There's going to be this doubt of, did I affect the outcome of this situation simply by my thoughts? And that's going to lead you to something really interesting if you decide to explore that. Turn over this final card. The Queen of Passage. Wow. I'm getting cold chills from this reading. Okay. The Queen of Passage. This fifth card is yours. In a way, it symbolizes every other card that has come before it. It symbolizes this month, but it's a very special card for you as an individual. When I look at this card intuitively, what I'm getting, not only does it tie into this reading of the leaving, but it also says that you may be a person who at times struggles with making these kinds of choices, like the leaving or some type of transition, that there's some doubt there, some fear, some insecurity, and we all go through that. Particularly, though, I get this impression that journeys, changes may be difficult. Everything that I'm going to give you my interpretation of this card, that I'm going to show it to you again via the cam. What I suggest is take some time, if you have to pause the video or what have you, find your own intuitive voice in this card, because there's something special for you here. When I look at this card, when I'm gaining my intuition from it, what she's holding this heart here, and that speaks directly to me, and it says, follow your heart and trust your heart. To me, that leads back to this joy of the future, of being hopeful, of knowing that there is someone watching over you, and that things are going to be okay, but it's about following your heart and placing your energy in that heart. And that is what I'm getting from this card. I'll show it to you again. If you have trouble viewing the card in the video, like via the cam, leave me a comment on the Facebook post or as a comment to this video, and I will try to find an image of this card and send it to you, a clear image. But definitely I would say study this card and find your own intuitive feeling, your moment of this card, because it's important specifically for you. This is going to tie into this month, but it's also, as I said with the fifth card, this is a broader card. It's an important sort of life element that if you choose to interact with and try to unravel or work with, I think it will will lend a lot of progress and a lot of goodness in the long run. So that is my reading. I hope that you found this useful and insightful. I hope that it gave you some guidance on your path. Certainly if you have further questions, feel free to message me there on Facebook. Yeah, I thank you for your time and attention, and I hope all of you are well.